How you doing? This is Coach D from Code31Media. We got a new show called Half Court Conversations with Coach D coming to you live. Stay tuned. We got a special guest coming up, and it's Coach D and it's Code31. Let's get it. Code31Media and Rare Royalty Magazine, and we actually have a new segment called Half Court Conversations with Coach D, and we have our very first guest. Introduce yourself, young man.
How you doing, Coach D? My name is Serg of ColorWerx Studios and ColorWerx.
And we met actually at Fresh's single release party, and I had an opportunity to come here on my own and see this beautiful ColorWerx studio, and I wanted to come back and interview him. So, Serg, tell us a little bit about how you dreamed up such a beautiful studio.
Well, ColorWerx was an idea that came about from a partnership with two of my partners, JC and Y, who came from the DJ world. He ran a studio. He was a designer and had a spot across the street called that he was already curating. And then my other partner, Paola, she had a print shop. Started in the basement. Great story. She was a hardworking person, and in the merch, she had a spot on Steinway here in Queens, not too far, called Whatever Inc. And I had ColorWerx, which was a media company, and I had come from corporate, from the music industry, managing artists, production, and just really a marketing and sales guy all my life, but a passionate creative, and we were looking for a one-stop shop, and had this vision to kind of come together and create this one-stop shop. Like a lot of us, I think, that came from the music and the entertainment business. I think we all, as the money has moved in the business, we all would move with it, and we looked for ways to consolidate all the services under one roof. And here we are. ColorWerx is a branding agency, but that specializes in manufacturing, in printing, in custom apparel, in websites, and now a little bit of digital branding when it comes to creating digital content, green screen work. As you see, the studio that we're sitting in is one of the 4 rooms that comprises the space, and it's dope. It's dope because we get a chance to work with so many artists now, and I see so much talent walk through these doors, and it's a blessing.
Yes. And how long have you been doing this?
ColorWerx. Well, I've been doing this all my life, but
give me like a synopsis of how you
started. I started with music. The story is long, but to give you a synopsis, is I started in the music business. Started with I guess producing and writing, and then opening a studio, and then recording artists in my neighborhood for about 5 to 10 to 15 years, and in that finding some artists when the Latin reggaeton thing happened. I happened to find a group called Tres Coronas in Queens, and they ended up getting signed, major, Latin Grammy nominated, one of the first ever Latin hip hop groups in the world. And I was blessed to have found these guys in my neighborhood, to say the least, and go on a worldwide tour and get nominated for Grammys and do amazing things and learn about the business and the interim. And then obviously the Latin market blew up to what it is today.
Yes.
So people 15 years later, when they ask me about Latin hip hop, I'm like, I was doing it in the beginning, the first year that they even created the category for the Grammys of urban music, we were nominated. So literally the beginning, I believed in it and I saw it. And my native country is Colombia. I'm Colombian, so I saw a big movement coming there, and it started with the Puerto Rican and Dominican movement, and then Colombian movement, and obviously now reggaeton and Latin trap is a huge global phenomenon, and it's dope. So I started there, and then from there I also did some stuff with Latino, and a lot of the Latin labels reached out to me, like the Rock Nation Latinos and all these Latin companies looking for a quick way to jump into that space. Jay-Z signed a guy named Aztec, happened to be Colombian.
Okay.
You saw guys in MMG did MMG Latino. They signed a bunch of Cuban guys down south. They had a great sound, great movement. Then Wu-Tang did a Wu-Tang Latino, and had an artist there also as well, Gab Gotcha. So I had some time in that space. And then, one day, one of my mentors, Will Mill, put me on to Smack, the battle rap coach, right? And he was gonna go there and shoot. And this is when the cameras, the DSLR cameras first came out, where before you had to have a big camera. Now this is the first revolution of small cameras. And one of my other mentors, Daniel Hastings, had already put me on, and I had been an assistant on a video set, and I was just so intrigued. And when I met Smack, we clicked, and one thing led to another, where I ended up going to one of his battles to shoot stuff. I had bought my own little camera, DSLR. And to fast forward the story, probably 2-3 months later, I ended up taking over the entire URL league as the director of the whole league. And that's a long story in itself, but it happened in Summer Madness. I stepped to an opportunity, and I ended up producing the show because no one was there. And then the next day, they made me the director of the URL, and I helped build the URL for many, many years till it sold to BT. And then I walked away. And by then, I was working with French Montana. I was shooting French's videos. I was doing early Chinks videos. I was doing Manos, Murders. A lot of those guys, I was running around with the Coke Boys in the beginning a lot. Shout out to all the Coke Boys. So I had a lot of love for what they were doing. And Chinks was my man. Chinks passed away.
Yes,
and I did a couple of joints off the Chinks project. He was very devastated because he was such a real person. He, a great young artist cut down in his early prime. And it was the first time that I had seen it firsthand, where I was working with somebody, and this kind of violence had happened. Through that, I did a video with him and Nipsey.
Okay. That's crazy.
So now Nipsey comes, and we're talking about what had happened to Chinks, and then boom, the video comes out, and then 2 years later, Nipsey passes away.
Wow.
So Hate Fool is the only video that has both Nipsey Hussle and Chinks in it. Rest in peace to both. To these both amazing men that I was so privileged to have met and have worked with in my career, and very influential, because there's a lesson in everything that happens to us and to the people around us.
So what advice would you give somebody that wants to get into this realm of the business?
The branding business?
Branding business.
Well, the branding business it takes partnerships.
Working with artists.
It takes partnerships. I mean, branding and manufacturing, which is the future, I'll cap it this. It takes partnerships. It takes capital. As I show you around the building, we had to invest in our own equipment. I think that when you control the process, you control the quality of it. You control the deliverables. You control a lot of things, so no disrespect, but everything here is made in America. It's not made overseas. So it's made in Queens.
Yes.
So if you come to me and I say I'm gonna have 10,000 hoodies by Monday, it's for me to do. I'm not waiting on delivery. I'm not waiting on things that can happen. If I have my own design team, if there's a problem in the graphics, which happens a lot in this business, printing, right? I can fix it myself. I have control. I'm not on a phone call with Fiverr using a cheap designer overseas to save a buck. So we built, an all-encompassing space. So to anybody getting in the business, as you get into it, have some capital, invest in your own equipment, know your capabilities. Don't try to do more than you can chew. I think that people try to do a little bit of everything, and then it's expensive. It's time-consuming, and you think that you can sell, do it yourself, and then deliver it. That's the one-man band. That one-man band has a limit to what he or she can do, right? So we get ahead of ourselves. I remember when we started, we were trying to take on big jobs, landing big artists and the Pepsis, and we didn't have enough staff to do it. So it was great when they said 24 shirts, and when they said, yo, we need 2,000 shirts by Tuesday, we were like, we panicked, because it was a huge undertaking, and reputation is everything, and there's no second, first impressions in anything you do. So all of a sudden, our own ambition had put us in a position where we're going to look back. And then it gets out there. So getting into this business, have some capital, have people that know what they're doing. You're getting into it as a business. If it's a hobby, you want to make your own clothes, guys. Buy a cutter, start with vinyl. It's the cheapest machine. You can start testing designs that you make on your own apps. That's there. Or come see somebody like us that has our own design team, and come with your idea, and you can sit with one of our designers, and we can show you the fabric, show you the machine, show you the process, and there's still a great margin in that. But for the guys that want to do it themselves, definitely also do research. It's great. We live in the YouTube world, so everything is out there, but it's not as easy as it is. I'll give you this snap effect. It is harder to make a brand become a successful global brand than it is to become a successful global rapper. It means your man is more likely to become a rapper than that clothing line becoming successful, because there's so much investment in this clothing line. And in the days of sending stuff out, restocking, dead stock, what happens to all this clothes that doesn't sell?
Yes.
It ends up in a barrel in a third world country.
Yes.
So the clothing business, I see guys raise millions of dollars, and in a year it's gone. Versus you would have put $1 million into a rapper, I'll pay for features with every major artist, and we'll get some of that money recouped in radio, in publishing. It's a science, it's numbers. You know, the guys that are pushing the biggest records have a lot of money. You know, putting money into investing, making it back on publishing. It's kind of like solid money. Can't do that with clothes.
Okay.
I see people spend $5-10 million on a brand. It's like a penny in the river. Like the next year is nothing. They have this collection,
So it's better
marketing.
to collab with like an upcoming artist or somebody that's already established.
No, I was just saying that, you know, the clothing business is very fickle. And if you compare it to hip hop, you know, it's even more complicated and even more rigorous and even more difficult sometimes to make successful on a global scale. It's easy to make a popular t-shirt. It sells in your network of Instagram. You're selling a few thousand t-shirts. I'm talking about a global brand. To become that brand, to become that next Rockaway, that next Sean John, you know, that next Off-White, that next kid, to speak the now language. It's expensive. It takes a lot of knowledge and wisdom, a lot of position, and luck.
Okay. So, what other artists come in here and do their podcasts and TV shows?
I mean, you know, here at the studio where we're at right now, there's a lot of great, I mean, so much great people have been here. We've had, you know, the Fat Joes do their podcast. He did here, you know, some Swiss Beats, the Casanovas. You know, we just had Drink Champs with Noriega, with Busta Rhymes in the reception area. Okay. That's just like in the last couple of months. It's hard to think about, you know, from the start. You know,
DJ Enough.
DJ Enough has a show here called Outside the Box with my partner JC and all the heavy hitters. They do their show here. They had some amazing guests from Rowdy Rebel, CJ. Whoopty, Wyclef, the Locks, and the list goes on. And obviously, DJ Enough is a legend, so that's going to continue to prosper. At one point, we had Love and Hip Hop doing the show here, Fresher doing the show here, Bacon and Cheese. Shout out to Fresh, that's my brother. We just did a video. Obviously, that's where we met.
So, if you have a big enough platform, if they want to do a podcast here, like, what's the process for that?
I mean, just reach out to ColorWerx. Tap into us. ColorWerx.com. But also you can just find us online or call us directly or hit us online. You know, we have the website. It's not that hard. We do get booked in advance a lot, so I will tell people that if you're looking to come book the space, you know, we do book a lot. But you know, we're very accessible. We make ourselves all the partners here make ourselves very accessible because we feel it's super important.
Like how much would, if somebody wanted to do a podcast here, like price range, is it like?
It's affordable.
Okay.
You know, between 100 to 150 an hour, 200 an hour. It just depends on what you're doing because we have certain add-ons if they want to add, you know, they want to use projectors, bring in cars, or red lights, so that it fluctuates. But I will say this, that we make it very attainable. We don't get booked 50 times a month because we're expensive. Yeah. Because let's be real, we built a space that we wanted to be accessible to kids in the art. So to cater to photographers, videographers, designers, dancers. Yes. So I love seeing passionate people, and then the reality is, because we do have all the services here, a lot of people come to the studio and then we show them around the building. They're like, "Oh, I need that. Oh shit, I didn't know you did this, or I didn't know you did that." Or and it's great. Or they say, "Hey, my dad owns a business." I mean, let's be real. I got into the business services, not just the hip hop. I'm a business to business service. So restaurants, bars, lounges, barbershops, nail salons, any type of business requires the services that we push, which is branding, printing. Need a business card, need a flyer, need a poster. So we do a lot of starting businesses. A new business comes in, we do the custom design walls as you walk around. Our partners do designs that we print and install. We do these custom walls where we've done everything from the Fight Club Studios, which was French and the Weekend Studio, to the Mama Juana's, to the Hangar Bars, to all the bars and influential locations here in Queens, especially locally. So we start with that, then we do the uniforms, then we'll end up doing the business cards, the flyers, the posters, we do a design in the bathroom, we do their merch for their giveaways, we do merch for them to sell to their employees, we do their online stuff, we build a website, so all of a sudden we're a big component in a startup business. So, and again, not just the urban space. Our bigger accounts are stuff like the FBY, HBO,
Yeah.
Hillsong Church.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do a lot of cool stuff, but the big corporate companies are really what we drive.
And what advice would you give someone, like, if they want to reach out to, like, the mainstream artists to network with or do media with?
I say, when people ask me that, I say that nowadays with social media, it's an even playing field, and it's a lot easier in this day and age to reach out to artists now. Not to say that a lot of artists are heavily bombarded with messages, but if you're creating great content and you believe in what you're doing, reaching out to anyone is 2 phone calls away. Now, obviously, to get in someone's ear, if you're looking for a particular artist, is looking for the relationship. So if you're trying to go direct with an artist doesn't work, and you really want to get to someone's ear for X, Y, and Z purposes, it's being studious. Use social media. Look who they're around. Look what they're doing. Look where they're going to be. A lot of artists publicate everything nowadays, which is a good and a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
So we can pretty much find out where a lot of artists are. If they're moving, if they're private and off the grid, then you got to know someone in that circle, right?
Right.
And you got to work hard at it. If they're public and they're moving, you can find them. They're very findable. It's just studious.
Yeah.
But definitely, work on your craft, and it's difficult to close so many places, but as places reopen, you have to move and shake. You have to study your business, and you have to be also a student, and you have to be where they're at, and you have to support other artists, because by doing that, you're now becoming inclusive, and now they're putting you on to private events or private things. Like, look, next week there's 2 big private events coming up. Because I'm in the loop, I'm gonna know where they are.
Yes.
And there I'm gonna run into other movers and shakers. So you gotta be in it to be in it. And you can't be this introvert who wants to be in the game, but your music is so introverted that you don't fuck with nobody.
Right.
I get it. And I respect people that don't fuck with nobody. I went from fucking with a lot of people to having a smaller circle.
Yes.
I get it.
You have to do that.
But as you're trying to break as an artist, you have to be accessible. And you have to be reachable.
All right. Well, I thank you for being my first guest.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All right, good.
Okay.
Start with I thank you.
I appreciate you for being on my first show for Half Court with Coach Conversations with Coach D. And before you go, let them know where they can reach you on social media.
Well, thank you first of all for having me, Coach D, and I love what you do, and I love how you get back to the kids, and that's why we're here in front of the sport. So, we love having you guys here and supporting you in any way we can. And again, you can reach ColorWerx at www.colorwerx.com, at ColorWerx, ColorWerx on Instagram, and I'm Serg SDM. That's at SergeSDM at Instagram as well. And yeah, man, come check us out. It's in the works.
And before you go, say your name and say it's Code 31.
Yo, my name is Sergio P, and it's Code 31.
And we thank you for having us here at ColorWerx. And we appreciate being here. Shout out to Jerry from Super Ugly. Shout out to Fifi from Red Royalty. I'm Coach D from Code 31. And this is Half Court Conversations with Coach D. And we are going. Let's get it. Ain't nobody stopping the code. Let's go.
Run up on me, he gon' change your faces, nigga. Run around, shoot, 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 shoot. Run around, shoot, 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 shoot. Run around, hoo, 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 hoo. Run around, shoot, 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 shoot. Run around, which one, big one?